Hello and welcome to Piano Shack with me, Woody. Now, many of us are playing with guitarists and invariably they will call out a 12-bar blues in the key of A. And we as keyboard players need to be able to lay down a solid comp accompaniment in the key of A. Today I'll show you how I do it. A really efficient, quite easy way to do it, but it sounds extremely effective and authentic. I have again a backing track for you to download and play along with yourself if you want to try it out. And the track even has a blazing guitar solo, which is pretty awesome. Okay, here we have the 12-bar blues in A, and the chords I'm going to show you are as follows. This is the A chord. Here is the D chord, the 4 chord. Back to the A. Then we have the E, the D, and the A. So we played all 3 chords there, and you may have seen how little movement there is in my right hand. These are very efficient voicings. I can just keep my hand in the same place and play all 3 chords. You don't really want to be jumping around up and down the keys unless that's the effect that you're going for. I'll show you a different inversion. If we move this up here, these are based on the thirds and the sevenths, which I'm going to explain in just a second. But the second time around, some variation you can use is to play it slightly further up the keyboard to give you a bit more drama. Sounds like this. There's your D, back to the A. We can keep the same note on the top all the time. There's the E, there's the D, back to the A. And obviously I'm using an organ today, but these voicings work absolutely superbly for synth, piano, electric piano, whatever you like, and you can play them with your right hand or your left hand. I'm using shell voices plus 1 additional note. Now let's talk a little bit about these shell voicings because they are oh so important. A shell voicing, I've heard people call them skeleton voicings, is just 2 notes. The most important notes of any chord. We're playing a blues tune here with blues chords, an A7. The notes I want you to play when you're doing a shell voicing is the 3rd, which tells you if it's a major or minor chord. There's the 3rd there, and the 7th, which is up there. Okay, so that's going to tell you if it's a major, minor chord, on what type of 7th it is, which is super important. So those 2 are the most important notes. You can play them up there, with the 3rd on the bottom, the 7th on the top, or flip them around and have the 7th on the top, 7th on the bottom, sorry, and the 3rd on the top. So there's the 2 versions of a shell voicing. Now, here's the really neat thing about using these. Take a look what happens when we go to the 4 chord, the D. Whoops, there's the A. There's the D. It's just a chromatic shift down, and that's why these voicings sound so smooth and how well they work. If you're curious what's actually going on here, it's fascinating. There's our A. There's the D. If you look at the A, we've got the 3rd on the top, 7th on the bottom. When we go to the D, it's flipped around. Now the 3rd is on the top, 3rd is on the bottom, bear with me, 7th on the top. And when we get to the 5 chord, the E, we just shift it a semitone up. There's the 4 chord. So these are all you need to play the blues using the shell voicings. We can of course switch it up as well, play them up here. Exactly the same thing applies. When you go to the 4 chord, you shift everything down by a semitone. Then when we go to the 5 chord, shift everything up by a semitone. We need to now go to the D, which is there. That's your shell voicings. They are really, really elegant, very widely used in jazz, blues, and a super simple way to get through a chord progression. What I'll do during the solo is add notes to these shell voicings. What I'll do is, here's our shell. Sometimes a bit hard on the mini keys. I'm going to play that one on the top, the 5th. And I'm going to leave that there all the time. This is going to be like a hanging note or a pedal tone. It works really well. Check this out. To the D, back to the A, to the E, to the D, back to the A. Now, yes, you've got to admit that sounds pretty authentic. We can do the same trick with the extra note when we shift it up an inversion. So there's our skeleton shell voicing. I'm going to add the B, which is actually the 9th of A. And we're going to just hold that down again. Same thing, hold that down over the entire chord progression. Let's go to the D. So it works. That's now a 13th of the D. Back to the A. We'll keep it down for the E. So once again, you can see how I can play the entire 12-bar blues, just keeping my hand in exactly the same place, but just sliding a few notes up and down. Please do try this. It's so valuable. Anyway, let me play you through the track using the things that we've just learned. Okay, let's start with simple shell voicings, 7ths and 3rds down here. Shift it up a bit. Still shell voicings, but a different inversion. Let's try some 3-note voicings. Back it down a bit. I think this is the final chorus. See how easy it is for me just to move these shapes. If you want the backing tracks, you can download them from my Patreon page. Yes, Patreon is for my supporters, but I've made sure that this post is available to everybody, so you can all go and download it and have fun playing these blues comps yourself. Thank you very much for watching. Good luck, and I'll see you again next time. Cheerio.